We've been out of commission for a little bit because I've been redoing the entire setup, but we are back with another build video. At this point in the season, most people know the most effective builds in the game, so what I want to try focusing on now is some unique and interesting builds that have some cool interactions and are still very effective in PvE. And with this video, we're going to be pairing the Necrochasm with the exotic chest piece for the Warlock, the Chromatic Fire, because the Necrochasm Thrall Explosions now are considered arc damage. Let's not waste any time and dive right into it. So for our exotic, again, we are going to be maining the Necrochasm. Again, you get this from completing the Crota's End raid. Again, you pick up the quest, you go through all the steps. Again, there are plenty of guides if you want to look it up on YouTube, but the main thing here is going over the perks. Intrinsic trait, Cursebringer. Precision final blows with the weapon trigger a Cursed Thrall Explosion. Final blows with Cursed Thrall Explosions refill the magazine. Note the explosion also applies poison as well, and I already dropped a build with the Necrotic Grips because it pairs with that as well. Most weapons of Sorrow do, and this counts as one, but we want to focus on a different build for this. For the other weapon perks, we have Arrowhead Break, Ricochet Rounds, Desperation, reloading after a precision final blow or a final blow with a Cursed Thrall Explosion increases your rate of fire and improves stability and aim assist. And then lastly, we have Hand Laid Stock, which increases stability. We also have a Catalyst for it, which you have to have a bunch of Oversouls for. You gotta have 35 in total for it, but really the only thing this does is give it Outlaw, so it's not anything crazy. And like I said, for our armor exotic, it's going to be Chromatic Fire. This is what it looks like normally, and actually has a Vex theme ornament, which I really like. But the main thing is the perk Crystalline Transistor. Precision final blows from kinetic weapons create an explosion that deals damage in the element of your subclass and applies elemental effects. So it's pretty cool. Since we're going to be on the Arc Subclass, the effect that is applied is actually a blinding explosion. And obviously we want to take advantage of the seasonal artifact this time around, and honestly there's only two main ones and they're in the final column. First up being Monochromatic Maestro. Dealing elemental ability damage increases matching weapon damage, and elemental weapon damage increases matching ability damage. The bonus granted is 10% for 5 seconds. I'm going to be using an arc special and arc heavy weapon, so Monochromatic Maestro will allow for the bonus damage to our abilities and the weapons, you know, back and forth whenever you do that damage. And then the last one, which is Elemental Embrace. Subclass elemental buffs grant you bonus recovery and damage resistance against combatant attacks of the matching element type. So since we're going to be on the Arc subclass, once we're amplified, we basically get bonuses to damage resistance and recovery. It's just basically a free survival bonus. Now, under the Stormcaller subclass, first up for the super, I'm opting for the Chaos Reach. Again, it's a good, just consistent hit super, good for taking out a bunch of targets and sustain damage on other higher tier targets. For our abilities, I'm going with the Healing Rift here. For movement, I like Burst Glide, but you can use what you like. For the melee, I like Ball Lightning. Again, I can just toss that out above a target, it'll hit, and when we're amplified, it actually does 3 lightning strikes. You can use Chain Lightning if you'd like, it doesn't really matter. And for the grenade, I'm opting for the Pulse Grenade. For our aspects, I'm using Electrostatic Mind. Defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets creates an Ionic Trace. Collecting Ionic Trace makes you amplified. This is going to be the big one that will allow us to be amplified and create Ionic Traces. And again, collecting Ionic Traces gives you bumps to your ability energy. For our second aspect, we're using Arc Soul. Cast your Rift to create an Arc Soul that fires at targets in front of you. Allies can pass through the Rift to get an Arc Soul. Your Rift charges faster when allies are near. While amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged and gain an increased fire rate. Good thing here is that Arc Souls can proc Ionic Traces since it's considered like an ability kill if you kill a target with it. For our fragments here, first up we're going with Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants who are more resistant to incoming damage, it's a plus 10 to strength. Again, just good for damage resistance overall. Next, Spark of Amplitude. Rapidly defeating targets while you are amplified creates an Orb of Power. Again, getting amplified is very easy, and having more Orbs of Power in the field for you and your allies is literally free. Next up, Spark of Magnitude. Your lingering arc grenades have an extended duration. That means that Pulse Grenade will last longer. And then lastly, Spark of Discharge. Again, arc weapon final blows have a chance to create an Ionic Trace, minus 10 to strength. What's pretty cool is that the Necrochasm Explosion, now that is considered arc, counts for Spark of Discharge. Next, let's go over our armor mods. First up, starting with the helmet. I like Kinetic Siphon here. Again, rapid kinetic weapon final blows create an Orb of Power. Next up, Ashes to Assets. Gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Again, we are going to be using our abilities a lot here, so having that and giving us our super back even faster is going to be a bonus. And then lastly, I have Powerful Friends on. Collecting an Orb of Power causes nearby allies to increase their armor charge by 1. Again, it's good if you're with the team. If not, you can totally take this off. You can replace Kinetic Siphon with something like Harmonic Siphon, which translates to Arc Siphon. So the arc weapons we'll be using in the special and heavy slot can actually create those Orbs of Power when we get rapid kills. And then that'll allow you to rock double Ashes to Assets. You can do Ashes to Assets and Hands On. Again, Hands On, gain bonus super energy on melee kills. You can do that one as well. Again, there's a couple different combinations here, but honestly, you can use what you like. On the gauntlets here, I'm opting for Bolstering Detonation, grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. I'm also using Momentum Transfer and Impact Induction, so when I cause damage with a melee attack or my grenade ability, it reduces cooldowns for both of those things respectively. Pretty much, as long as I use my abilities with these 3 mods on, I can get my abilities back even faster. For the chest piece, you can honestly rock whatever combination of resistance and, reserve mods. I'm rocking all harmonic, again, so I have reduced arc damage and more arc weapon ammo in my reserves for my special and my heavy weapon. Again, note, harmonic cost a lot less than something like arc resistance. Harmonic reserves, again, is 2, arc reserves is 3, so just keep that in mind when you're build crafting. On the boots here, I'm rocking Arc and Kinetic Weapon Surge, so we get that small bonus to damage while we have any armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time. Note, collecting Orbs of Power gives you an armor charge. Minimum, we can have 3 armor charges, and with these blue mods, it pretty much puts a 10-second timer on those. So as long as we have 3 armor charges, that's 30 seconds of this bonus weapon damage for both of these weapons. And then lastly, I have Recuperation. Replenishes health each time you pick up an Orb of Power. And then last on the class item, I'm rocking Time Dilation. Your decaying armor charge has a longer duration, so that 10 seconds that I just mentioned actually gets bumped up to 15 seconds. So if we have 3 armor charges, that's 45 seconds of that bonus weapon damage. Then I'm also rocking Bomber and Outreach, so when I use my class ability, I get a reduced cooldown for my melee and my grenade ability. For stats to focus on, we talk about this every video. Try to have tier 10 100 resilience. It's going to give you a 30% damage reduction in PvE. Definitely key here. Secondly, I would focus on discipline. Again, discipline is actually tied to your grenade stat, and the faster we can have that grenade, the more we can take advantage of other bonuses and have creating ionic traces, becoming amplified, all that great jazz. And then for your other ones, I'd probably look into intellect. It's not absolutely necessary since we can get our super back very quickly here with the amount of orbs that we're creating, but intellect is tied to how fast you can get that super. And then I'd also look into strength. Strength is tied to the melee. We are going to be using our melee ability to proc other things like I just mentioned. Same thing with the grenade with discipline. But the main 2, resilience and discipline. Now, outside of Necrochasm, what are your weapon options? Again, we do want to focus on using arc weapons because we want to take advantage of arc weapon surge and other things here on the subclass. So, for example, I have this loaded question adept here. Again, this is an arc fusion rifle. And note, the reason I'm using it is because we have unstoppable fusion this time around, and so I want something that can take care of unstoppable champions. I already have Necrochasm, which is auto rifle, so I already can take care of anti-barrier with anti-barrier auto rifle. But honestly, any arc special weapon that's good for PvE will work here. And same thing with the heavy. I have this hot-head adept, explosive light, auto-loading holster. There's a lot of good arc weapons. You can craft a Song of Your Ute from Crota's End that comes with bait and switch, which is really good. You can craft a bequest from the Deepstone Crypt. Again, there are plenty of good arc special and heavy weapons that you could take advantage of, but definitely keep Necrochasm on for this. Now, if you got through all that and you're still a little confused about how this build works, I'm going to break it down for you, but similar to my Fallen Sunstar build, my Crown of Tempest build, my Geomag Stabilizers build, which are all arc builds that I've done here on the channel. Chromatic Fire does the same thing with the Arc Subclass paired with Necrochasm. It's really good for creating ionic traces and a bunch of Orbs of Power. The main thing to note on this build, outside of, the Arc Subclass being able to create ionic traces, create lots of Orbs of Power, have good damage resistance, become amplified. Again, you have all those options. Everything with our armor mods, being able to create Orbs of Power, have bonus weapon damage, have cooldowns to our abilities, have good reserves and damage resistance to targets. Necrochasm and Chromatic Fire just pair so well together with this subclass specifically. Necrochasm in particular is already great for just ad clear stuff, having that Cursed Thrall Explosion on a headshot, which is now considered arc damage, which can proc Spark a Discharge, which creates ionic trace. You collect that, you can become amplified. We have that selection right there. But with Chromatic Fire in particular, that explosion that happens is a blinding explosion, which, number one, can take advantage of electrostatic mine. So if we kill a blinded target, that'll create another ionic trace that we can collect, which is going to reduce our ability cooldowns even faster. But also, that blinded target is now also poisoned. If they die from the poison, they explode from the Cursed Thrall Explosion. And as long as we continue getting headshots, causing the Cursed Thrall Explosion, blinding targets, you pretty much have a way to control everything on the battlefield, whether you're blowing them up or blinding them, on top of creating a lot of ionic traces, which is good for ability cooldown. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Necrochasm Chromatic Fire Arc Warlock build. I hope you guys like it. I'm actually going to put the build for this in the description. It's going to be a dim link, so if you want to copy everything that I'm using, down to the weapons, the subclass, the armor, including the drip if you would like, because honestly, I think he looks pretty drippy. If you want to copy all that, again, you can get that from the dim link. And test out for yourself and let me know what you guys think in the comments. If there's something that you like using on this build, you know, in regards to weapons, you know, a different fragment, certain armor mods, definitely let me know in the comments. I'm willing to test stuff out. I'm doing it all the time. In any event, if what you saw is valuable or entertaining, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on the bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on another build video here on the channel. If you didn't know, we mainly live stream here on YouTube. We also have links for the Twitch and Kick in the description if you want to go follow those as well. We're going to mainly try to stick to here on YouTube. Again, we are mainly going to be playing Destiny 2, you know, PvE, PvP, Crota's End, Sherpa runs, dungeon runs, anything like that we will be doing here on the channel. So if you want to hop in for that stuff, hop in the chat when we're live, and if you want to be proactive, join my Discord. Again, that link will also be in the description. We have people wanting to play Destiny 2, but people are also talking about other games, PC tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you want to support the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. If you don't know what a membership is essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, you're going to get access to the exclusive emotes, the monthly badges, and other exclusive stuff here on the channel that can be used in live streams and on the videos. So if you want more information, all you have to do is press the join button, next subscribe, and that'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.